Hello. Something a bit different. Just doing a little quick review of episodes 1 to 3 of the Summer Hikaru Died. Basically, the only reason I'm doing this is because I want to do reactions to the rest of the episodes and I don't want for me to just upload episode 4 and then it would annoy me just having basically just episode 4 onwards. So I want just something on the channel to represent episodes 1 to 3, and this like a little short review is the best I could do, I suppose. I wanted to do reactions before I watched the episodes anyway because I thought it looked interesting. I'd heard good things about it, but the fact that it aired on Saturday along with a lot of other shows around that time, like Friday to Sunday, there's a whole bunch of shows that all air at the same time. It made it kind of hard for the schedule, and I don't like really waiting too much for just waiting too much to watch them because I end up getting spoiled or whatever. I just want to watch them kind of as soon as they come out. So I do regret not actually doing reactions to the first 3 episodes because I really enjoyed them. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm making this video and why I'm going to continue. I'm going to start doing reactions to them from here on out. But yeah, I'm really invested in the show. Horror, it's kind of just nice to see a horror anime being done as well as this one, from like a visual standpoint and just a general story standpoint. I mean, the story at this point is nothing crazy, but the premise itself is interesting and it's enough to keep me engaged alongside the visuals. I think what it does best is the atmosphere and the kind of just general vibe while watching it. It feels like a very thick and heavy atmosphere that really suits what's going on and the horrors that are happening without basically the horrors that are happening without many people even really knowing about it. Kind of, and it portrays that kind of heavy atmosphere that's flooding through the town, the little village, really well, and it's really quite compelling to watch. I mean, that's just something from a production standpoint. I mean, visually as well, it's super impressive, especially the like trippier, dreamlike sequences that Yoshiki goes through, whether it's when he's interacting with Hikaru or whether it's just when he's on his own. Like I think at the end of episode 2, there was that sequence when he's lying in bed with the chrysalis opening up, and then and then closing back down, and like how it represents him not wanting to take that step and accepting Hikaru's death and kind of just going back to the norm and the unchanging norm, which is always going to be compromised at some point. But the way that they kind of visually portray that is really great, and there's been a few of those sequences in every episode now at this point. Episode 3 as well had a brilliant one of Hikaru in the classroom, followed by a really intense scene between between Yoshiki in the classroom, and then followed by a really intense scene between him and Hikaru. And I mean, their dynamic as well is super interesting. It's super intimate as well, which is really nice to see. I wonder how kind of far and explicit they're going to go with that. I mean, it's pretty explicit at this point. I mean, their kind of like romantic implications and their intimacy is more. I see more of it here than I do in a lot of the kind of Yuri adjacent shows that I watch and enjoy, which is I'm very happy with that. So yeah, I don't know how much more they'll go further with that, but in these 2 episodes, in the 3 episodes, there's been a really good amount to enjoy from that department. Similarly, the kind of the vulnerability of Yoshiki, I think, is really compelling and just nice to see in a character where he's not whining and sort of down on himself all the time, but he has these vulnerable moments and he is capable of showing these emotions not just to Hikaru but just on his own and to the audience. And it's nice for the show to actually focus on these moments because I think it's important to kind of highlight just exactly what he's going through. I mean, it's an interesting concept because at its core, it's just a story about someone not being able to accept someone else's death. And we see that in a lot of stories, a portrayal of grief and them not being able to move on from a certain character's death, a certain someone's death, clinging on to the past. We see it in a lot of stuff, but I like how in this they have literally made a physical embodiment of that grief and literally have Hikaru stick around, but not as Hikaru, obviously. But yeah, it's a really enjoyable show. I really enjoy the moral predicament the MC is in. The kind of, he's obviously becoming aware that Hikaru is, obviously he knows Hikaru is this different sort of being, and isn't Hikaru anymore, but he's also becoming a bit more aware that Hikaru has the capability of performing some pretty grim and dark actions, and is potentially putting the town, the village at risk, and the people around him at risk, just because he wants to see, just because he wants to keep Hikaru around. And it's like, it's the kind of thing where, yeah, I get it. I really cannot knock Yoshiki for not sort of committing to getting rid of him, and now especially in the third episode where it's kind of revealing that the entity inside of Hikaru is just a child and is very clearly immature, and almost in a similar way to Mortis from Ave Mujika, if you've seen that, and Soyo's kind of attachment to Mortis in that sense. And there's like almost even a weird sort of parental responsibility that Hikaru's feeling now Yoshiki's feeling now towards Hikaru, and I think that's really interesting. It's really interesting to muddle that up in between his kind of romantic and platonic friendship sort of feelings he has towards him. But yeah, it's a super interesting show, a super well done show visually. The music, the opening's really cool. I love the kind of franticness of the opening, but also there's a weird serenity to it. It's a really great opening, and then the ending as well with the real life visuals, and Hikaru and Yoshiki's going on an outing. I can't tell if it's meant to be something that happened before Hikaru left or not. I need to maybe look at that in a bit more detail. But yeah, essentially, I really enjoyed these 3 episodes, and there will be reactions coming out for them every week from now on. Hopefully, there shouldn't be anything stopping me from recording them. This will be my first time doing reactions to a show that isn't Ave Mujika. Obviously, I've done Alien Stage reactions, but they're just kind of short music videos, so in comics it's a bit different. So I don't know what the quality or length of them will be like. I can't imagine it'll be as long and as quality analysis as I gave in Ave Mujika, where I mean, there's not going to be much. Ave Mujika is kind of the peak of the reactions you're going to get from me, most likely, and season 3 hopefully. But yeah, so just kind of tempering expectations a little. I do plan to edit down the Hikaru reactions, so I'm not just doing the full footage like I did Ave Mujika. I'm not sure what copyright is like, but I'd rather not take the risk. I was surprised that Ave Mujika and MyGo stuff, there really has like barely any sort of copyright stuff related to it. But yeah, and apart from that, the only other thing I wanted to mention is that I did realise that I saw on Twitter that someone was talking about like changes from the manga. I also found out that the manga is ongoing, and the anime most likely won't adapt all of it, well, this season anyway. So we probably will be checking that at the end, most likely. But yeah, I heard there were some changes in and some shuffling around of events. The stuff with the detective wasn't shown this early on in the story, it was shown a bit later on, and I kind of wish they didn't show the detective stuff this early on and change it around, because I would have liked to kind of just be alone with Yoshiki and his thoughts and his kind of just, it would kind of highlight or bring out his sort of predicament and the sort of loneliness that he's feeling from the situation more if it is just solely focused on him, and there isn't, the show doesn't show anything else at all, obviously, apart from Hikaru and killing the villagers, but just it really solely focusing in on Yoshiki and his psyche and just what he's going through. It would have been nice to just kind of stick with that, and then the detective come in when it is necessary. Like, I'm sure that's how it goes in the manga, as I've heard, but it's not. It's a bit of it's just a nitpick. It's just a what could have been rather than what is. So it's not a problem at all. But yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video just so I can set this up along. I can just set this up to just go into my reactions for the rest of the series from here on out. So hopefully you like the show. Hopefully you're interested in this as well. And I'll see you for the episode 4 reaction at the end of this week / early next week sometime. Thank you. See you later.